Join Dalton and Jacob as they discuss the ever-changing world of trading card games. TCG Buzz starts now.
What's up, Buzz Squad? It's your boy Dalton, back at it again with Bryce.
The only one that matters here outside of you, Dalton.
And the ginger from over there, Jacob.
We still love you, Jacob.
At least you have the spiciness back.
We'll get into that.
We will. We will.
So I think we're going to title this one.
We're going to title it, My Deck Was Stolen, and this is the story of how I got it back.
I think we'll title it, BCS Chicago Regionals, a roller coaster of emotions.
Hello.
And I think by the end it was a roller coaster I wanted to get off, but
Well, you did.
we'll get into that. So we're talking about Chicago.
Chicago. Si, senor.
So we went to Chicago as Dalton and I do pretty much every season.
True.
For Buddy Fight, and we were joined by Bryce this time for his first ever appearance.
Yep, we took him out of the hyperbolic time chamber for the 2 months we had him in it for. And yeah, we're gonna kind of go over everything and see how we did, even though 2 of 3.
So we'll go over day one first.
Day
which
one
was
was-
Vanguard Standard Day and Weiss. Because this year is the first year they're splitting Vanguard into 2 formats.
Mm-hmm.
So it was weird not playing with the Weiss people when we played.
Yeah, that's true.
Instead it was premium.
Mm-hmm.
But day one was interesting.
Yes.
By that I mean it was less interesting than day 2
Far.
because we weren't playing.
Far.
But there were still some interesting things. We got some fun trades in.
Fun trades. Got
to
some
see
cards.
familiar faces too.
Well, not
Sure.
for you.
No, yeah, for him too. You saw some familiar faces.
Yeah, actually, we did run into 1 or 2 people you knew, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come on, Jacob, keep up with the times.
We got to see a lot of our good friends who we only see at regionals. We got to buy some things. Dalton, what did you buy?
Day 1, I got 2 VR Perfect Risers to complete my Noah Grappler standard deck. It's going to be a while before that ever sees tournament play because Novas aren't the greatest.
They try their best.
Well, no, they've been nerfed since original, but eventually they'll break through.
Only thing I really bought was a card I actually needed for my deck for the next day. And by needed, I mean I already had the card, but I had 2 copies at different rarities, and I can't have that. So I bought one of the higher rarity ones just so they'd match.
Because deck lists are a pain in the rear.
Yeah.
This is true. This is true.
So what about you, Bryce? Tell us about your first experience at a Bushiroad event, day 1 specifically.
Well, not gonna lie, there wasn't much going on because, zombified for a while.
Yeah,
True. Very true.
None of us
We were
slept,
all-
first of all.
No sleep.
Good
Really hitting me.
20-hour stretch surviving off of monster and beef jerky.
Wait, that's a lie. Jacob slept in the car for like an hour.
Yeah, Jacob was
Yeah.
the. Well, I
No,
think I
actually,
slept
Jacob
too.
slept for a while, actually. He
Yeah.
slept for like a good 3.
Not 3. The entire trip was 3.
No, it wasn't.
Okay, it was 2.
Yeah, we'll say 2.
and a half.
That's the benefit to being the guy in the back seat.
Yeah, I basically had to keep Bryce awake, but like I know I zoned, but was awake, and then finally zoned, and then came back to life, and then like shit.
We had to deal with some
I looked
crazy
over.
construction.
Oh Jesus, Milwaukee. Oh,
Always Milwaukee.
It's
Oh.
always
they're
There's always
Um,
something going on there.
Yeah, but what about the actual event, Bryce?
The actual event was kind of nice, although it was weird having the vendors on the outside instead of the inside. That threw me for a loop.
Yeah,
yeah, threw everyone for a loop. That
So
was the first time I believe they were on the outside.
it used to be they were on the inside in the actual hall that the tournament was taking place on the back wall, and now they moved them out into the hallway, which was weird.
I think it might have been to the fact that Bushi was expecting more people
Mm-hmm.
for all the games, and for obvious reasons, for Buddy Fight, it didn't happen.
Because, people want to try out new things and they can't, so
They
get
wanna
turned
get
off,
into
and then
new-
They just look forward to Buddy Spoiler.
They just want to go to new meta, not stay in old meta.
Old crappy meta.
That's okay. I got to punch in a lot of the old meta decks.
Now, and I did talk as the vendors were setting up still. I'm, acquainted with them. And, I talked with Dirk and a couple of the others. And everyone was like, yeah, we don't really like this.
Because they don't really see what's going on.
Right, and then
They feel like they're just outsiders because they are.
Not many people ended up going to the vendors, I feel like.
Yeah, it felt
Right.
like
It just seemed too far.
like the only one that really did was Jacob just hovering over the vendor for like a good hour.
I was
Just
bored.
out of just subconsciously like, I gotta check what's new. What's there? Oh, there's something new. I gotta see it.
Other things, Cardfight Underground, got to give them a shout out for their really fun poker chip game.
Yeah, and
Yes.
crippling depression that you got after you got like 10 orange chips in a row.
Yeah, so it was $1 to play, and you'd pick out a chip, and they were worth varying amounts of money, up to $20. And Dalton started really bad,
Oof, I started horrible, man.
and he kept playing and kept getting screwed over. While
I was just
I
like, I'm like, you know what? I'm done. And then I noticed Jacob.
I was doing really well, right? I was getting, throwing in $1, pulling out 5, throwing in $1, pulling out 2, et cetera, et cetera. And I was making decent money from this. You trade him in for store credit. And Dalton kept playing and getting hosed. Just
True.
hosed.
Then I was going to stop. And then Jacob started to cool off.
Yeah.
And by cool off, I mean he started getting nothing. And I'm like, this is my time.
And what
This is
happened?
my time to
I
shine.
put in $3. First pull, 20. Second pull, 20. Third one, doesn't matter. I already made $40 off of it.
It was a lot of fun.
And then I
think
just
we
started
both
pulling good.
plussed a little. You
Oh, yeah.
plussed a lot. I
Oh,
plussed
yeah.
a little.
I think we plussed in general, no matter what.
Yeah.
Plus,
And,
if I didn't get screwed over in my paycheck, I would have joined you too. So,
and it was fun.
Oh, yes.
And
It was
Bryce
fun.
got to pull a couple of ours for us.
oh yeah,
And got hosed.
that's okay. I pulled you the first one that matters. They got you your team poo.
We didn't stay for the full day one, but I do know some of our friends and fellow YouTubers did do pretty well. Like Speed Robo. Shout out to him for getting his first top 8 in standard.
Nice, nice.
Oh,
Oh, they gave us Pocky.
yes, they gave us Pocky instead of
Basically,
a life count
over glorified candy sticks.
notebook.
Yeah.
Bushi, why'd you get rid of those?
We ended up leaving early because 1, we were all tired, right?
Yep.
2, we were all very hungry.
Mhm.
We ended up going to Denny's.
Well, we kind of had to force Jacob to leave because he was just like, nah, just like a few more minutes. Like, Jacob, let's go.
Yeah.
It's time to go.
I'm the type of guy who likes to milk it for every minute. I mean, you're paying to be there, so
Yeah,
What?
you're paying to be at the hotel.
yeah.
So we get to the hotel, and what does Jacob do? Instantly falls asleep. Me and Bryce, we just stay awake the entire time. I'm like, well, this backfired on us, but
How do we break the meta?
And then I woke up later. We got some food, which was kind of hard because nowhere delivered to our hotel.
Because Chicago.
Because Chicago. And then we got some food. We ate our food. We play tested for a while, watched Marvel movies,
Marvel movies.
and went to
yeah.
bed. And definitely didn't oversleep.
Well, I initially woke up to my first alarm or my second one that I had set. I'm like, yeah, I got time. I'll wake up with the other one. And that didn't happen. I woke up. I'm like, oh,
Plus,
Jacob, guys, let's go.
I'm glad we had packed our stuff up the night before.
I was
Right?
glad I made those last minute changes too.
Oh, yes.
They
Oh, yes.
they worked out so much better because I came to the realization playtesting. I'm like, why is Gallows card not in the main board? He
Yeah.
pops Ozzy. What am
He's
I
good.
doing?
He's good.
And then you can pitch him for Black Guy.
That's very true. So, you want to get into day 2 now?
Yeah. Day 2.
Day 2.
Arriving a little late, but not late enough to where they were in line.
Well, they were in line. They were in line, but
They're in
it
line,
wasn't
but
anything crazy.
no one was moving in yet or anything.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
So, let's talk about round 1, I guess.
no, first
Oh,
we got more Pocky.
yes,
Yeah.
we got more Pocky.
I got
And,
cookies and cream.
I
best.
got chocolate, which Dalton swapped for the matcha green tea one, which is the best one.
You monster. You take that back right now. Tell that to my cookies and cream.
Dalton and I cashed in some of our chips for some
Mhm.
cards. I got some Buddy Rares I'd been looking for a while. I know you got Murakuro
Yep.
and some other junk.
Mm-hmm.
And then we got into round 1.
Round 1. Round 1, I faced. What did I face? I don't remember what I faced. Oh, I faced Sun Dragons. That's right. With my dual golem deck that I specifically built to combat Sun Dragons. The ones Jacob was playing.
Yes, but it wasn't me. We have yet to fight each other.
Yet, the streak continues.
Oh, don't worry, you'll still lose, Jacob. I'm sorry.
But
It's dual golems, man. What do you?
to be honest, it lasted only 2 games with a total of 3 turns. Game 1, he went first. He threw out Style of Impact Ball and searched out an item, the Dragon Force one.
Yep.
Then I proceed to OTK.
That's his life.
Game 2, he had me go first. I proceeded to FTK.
And then you were done.
And then called Judge. Judge came over. It's like, wait, no, it wasn't that Judge. We filled out our thing. Another judge came over and was like, who the heck finished in 10 minutes? I'm like, It's like, what were you playing? Dual Golems. Oh, that makes sense.
I fought against Plague, and it was a pretty standard match. Nothing really to comment on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bryce, what did you play?
I played against Sword Boys. I played against Levitine or Leviathan, whatever the folks you want to call it. Ironically, we met the guy the day before.
Well, we met him tournament before.
Yeah.
Do you remember his name?
I forget, but he just built the deck before the tournament started, and he was learning the deck. So obviously, you can't really help slow play. But game 2, we got in the time. I was already up a game, and the thing was, he could have killed me, but the issue being, it's like, well, fam, I'm sorry, I'm really bad at this, so I'm just going to give it to you.
Which was an honorable thing instead of both of you taking a double loss.
Right.
And he was just like, yeah, I was just learning the deck. I'm not going to penalize you for me learning this deck.
Right.
Chivalry.
Which was funny because he ended up doing well afterwards, too.
Yeah,
So
worked out for both of us.
So round 2 comes around.
Yes.
And I've got a story about round 2.
Yes,
We had all done well in round 1, moved up in tables. Also, fun fact: all 3 of us got placed right next to each other. in round
Yeah.
1.
Oh, don't worry. We got placed right next to each other in round 2, too.
Yeah. There's a little more gap, but not by much.
Like 1.
So I sit down and I like to chit chat with my opponent before we actually start, because we usually have time. And we were just talking like, well, how'd your round 1 go? He's like, oh, good. I'm like, well, mine too. And I'm like, my match was, pretty easy. It wasn't really something stressful. And I'm like, yeah, I played Plague. And he goes, well. And he was playing Plague. And he got a little closer than the last guy. He actually did get in one of the games his book up to the right number of souls, but he didn't have Gauge or the spell.
So close. So close.
It's funny though. I had a Jackknife, Grand Thieves in hand.
Yeah.
And I kept trying to play it, and like every time I'd get close, he would use that spell that gives us
Both
five
get
life.
5 life.
So I couldn't. So that was fun. It was a fun match. I did win that, but I had a blast. It was really fun. What did you fight, Dalton?
I fought John, who was actually most likely going to be watching this video. Shoutouts to you, John, and his Y deck. I did lose, unfortunately, but I was really just going for the fun aspects,
It's always a challenge to go against Y with freaking dual golems. You can do it, but it's hard to do it.
Oh, he was scared the entire time.
He's just, oh God, don't.
And he was kind of nervous too because he's like, oh snap, I'm facing Dalton. I'm just like making sure he's not making too many mistakes and so forth, which was kind of cool.
Yeah.
You don't get those opportunities too often, so thanks again, John. Yeah, that's basically it. So I was just a wee bit too much. He sideboarded in the right cards game 2 to just make sure I couldn't OTK him because I have done it before. I have OTK'd Zwei.
Right, Bryce?
Yes.
I've even scared Bryce when he's like, yes, turn 1 dry, but I don't have anything else. I'm like, and deal 20 damage. Just like, oh God, oh God. It's like, now
Dad?
you know I can do it.
Dad,
Proceed.
stop.
What about your round 2?
Let me this story all about how that match got flipped, turned upside down. Like, just sit right there. I'd like to tell you about his total life total that wasn't there. So
Who did you play round 2?
I played some guy, larger white fellow, but he was playing Dual Golems too. And it was funny because he's like, I wonder what you playing. Yeah, I don't know, find out. And I revealed Zwei. He's like, oh, no.
Funny how you guys had the same matchup that round, but just on reverse sides.
Right, right.
And Zwei won both of them. Hey!
Which I find funny because you said your guy was kind of like, I can't even deal 20. I'm like,
Yeah, and I was like,
yes, you
bruh,
can.
I died.
My
I
buddy
died
has
on
done it
turn
to me
two.
plenty of times.
And he's like, ow, you just get in there.
Just go.
All right, so round 3.
Round 3, yes.
You should go first, Dalton.
Or should Bryce go first?
Bryce, go first.
Bryce hasn't gone first.
Yeah,
Bryce,
Bryce,
what
go
did you
first.
play?
So I played against the Chaos for the first time that day, but
Mhm.
I had a lot of practice against, like Christian's deck mainly. That's the one that was the important part. Some of
The auto deity variant, yeah.
yep, and then Gavin's just
Your
OG,
god.
just catching some G's kind of
So
stuff.
which variant was this?
This was the Christian variant.
The auto deities. Okay.
Yep, and what I think I faced that all day.
Mhm.
I could be wrong, but basically, I had like some of the best reactions all day out of that guy. And I was like, turn 1, doing my thing. Well, I failed to find black guy. Pass turn. He goes, 27 life. Here we go. And it's funny because he was complaining the entire time. I'm like, bruh, you're playing Chaos. You draw like half your deck on turn 2. It's fine.
I mean, you're right. But so did you end up winning that matchup?
Oh, absolutely.
All right.
Yeah, because I mean, game 2, he kind of killed me dead, and then game 3 it went to time because I couldn't black guy him turn 1, so it was because it was like, well, I guess worst comes to worst, and then I actually didn't find Guyan at all against him during game 3, but game 2 I turned 2 black guy and he was like, okay, yeah, you got this.
This is probably for the later facts, but wasn't he the one who took
8th?
after Swiss 8th?
Yes.
Yes?
He
Okay.
just squeezed
Okay.
in there.
And I think it was like his first one, so congrats to you. I'm blanking on your name, but congrats to you, man.
Yeah, and then we went to time game 3. I was at 12. He was at 8. I thought he was at 9, but he was at 8 the whole time. And then he only had 1 penetrate boy, which thank God he did. So then
He got you down to 9.
he got me down to 9, and then I just walled up with Zervon and like 3 cards in hand. I'm like, Zervon. Asadahaka says, yeah, you got it. I have to link attack to get past that boy.
Yep.
And you won in time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how about you, Dalton?
I played Chaos, if I'm correct, because it was just a normal Gear God variant. What was it? With dual golems, it's a very simple matchup. Whoever goes first game 1, that's the person who's basically going to end up winning.
Yep.
I did not go first, which was
Rip.
Rip. Game 2 went first. OTK'd. Game 2, he's like, yeah, I'm going first. I'm like, fair. There was only one thing I wish I would have done that actually I can blame Jacob for.
Oh.
Actually, no, and you'll understand why. So I wasn't running chess break in my sideboard, and Jacob kind of convinced me to be like, yeah, there's better cards and so forth. You know, I'm like, yeah, I guess so. I'm like, I don't suspect to play Chaos too often. You know, I feel like some Dragon.
Hey, look what happened that day. Nothing but
Play
chaos.
Chaos.
Because people were calling out Sun Dragons as a meta deck.
Because-
and they were right.
Chess break would have changed everything. I would have got rid of the ruins and then penetrate damage, and he would have been happy. But then again, we were also looking for a different. What am I going for? High meta deck being played, but
Which was Suns.
didn't happen. So Jacob, what did you face?
I had a mirror match.
Wait, hold up. You had a mirror match?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Because that's not a
So
meta deck.
it was Sun Dragons versus Sun Dragons.
Mm-hmm.
And we had the mirror.
Mm-hmm.
And game 1, he won.
Ooh.
And then I whip out my sideboard that I crafted for the mirror match. slap in my cards, take game 2 like no one's business, right?
Yeah.
So my sideboard's good. I saw his sideboard options in game 2. It was essentially just loyalty.
Loyalty.
Whereas I was running loyalty, Drago Trap,
Oof, that Drago Trap.
and Obstruct.
What do y'all know about that Drago Trap, though?
So good. So good. And we get into game 3. I'm like, I got this, right? And I draw my starting hand. I'm going first, and I draw my extra card, and I look at my hand, no monsters.
Oh.
I charge and then draw, no monsters. We go through 3 turns with me drawing several extra cards, no monsters. And that's when I lost.
Oh. And you were kind of sad after that, weren't you?
Yeah, I was bummed. I bricked.
Which is funny.
I'm sorry.
Which was kind of funny because me and my opponent, we started talking about the chaos. You know, we had to leave the hall because it was a little loud. We were just talking about like what we think are the better chaos ones, and I'm all like, minis is probably the worst one right now.
Sad
Then OG Gear Gods, and then auto deities, or they could be flippity flopped.
Because bots is fair and balanced, right?
Yeah.
It's not. It is.
We won't continue this. And we were talking and so forth, even though I'm like, all I play are minis. I will never play a different variant of chaos. Minis is always going to be my deck. But I just kind of know. It might just be me playing them. Who knows? But he was like, yeah, you want to go check out my binder? I'm like, yeah. And then it happened. The day, you got the cards ready? You got the cards ready, buddy? I see 2 specific cards, and I'm like, my buddy's going to love you, man. And he's like, yo, I have a fiance. I'm like, yo, I didn't say he was going to try to marry you. I just said he was going to love you. So I'm like,
don't
yo.
have to get it official, man.
Also, if you're watching this video, put a link to your
Discord.
Discord.
Chat. Yeah.
I couldn't find it on Facebook, so just so we can get into it and have other people who are watching get into it. Yeah. It was what? Buddy fight area testing?
Grounds, maybe?
Yeah.
Something
so,
like that.
You can chat with your opponent while you're playing buddy fight area.
Yeah, so...
And the 2 cards, Jacob, what were they?
They were this SP, Art of Body Duplication Osmodi.
Just need 3 more.
I just need 3 more. Oh, no.
Well, depending on how many you're running in deck.
I think 3. And then...
Oh, 2 more then. Oof.
Secret Tetsuya Flag, which... Whew! So, Dalton summoned the forces of gods to summon me to that area.
Yeah, because you just randomly went out of the thing, right? Because you were just kind of depressed, and I'm just like looking for you inside. I'm like, where is he? I'm like, where are you? He's like, I'm outside.
Literally your Uber, where he summoned you from the internet to go to this place.
Yeah. And the guy opens the page, and I have my O face on. I'm like, oh, right. And he's looking through my binder and just like not finding anything, right?
Yeah.
And he kind of had interest in an infinite rare of the chaos.
Mm-hmm.
And then he flips towards the end when I've got SP of one of the gear gods.
Yep.
And he's like, oh, I need this. I'm like, well, we started talking value, and I'm like, oh, this is like perfect. And he's like, yeah, it is perfect. I'm like, I'm helping you max ready your deck with 2 cards, including a flag and a boss monster, and you're helping me do the same. And we shook hands, we passed cards between each other, and we felt good.
Yeah. Then round 4, right?
Round 4.
Round 4.
We'll come back to that story.
Yes, I think there's more to that.
Round 4.
Round 4. I played the boy Speed Robo. Him and his Skull Water deck.
You gotta send me the link to his YouTube at some point.
Sure, yeah.
I need to sub to that boy. He's a good guy.
No, maybe we'll link it down in the description.
We, of course, will.
The worst. I've never bricked in my entire life. I don't look. I don't believe in bricking.
First time for everything, son.
I don't believe in bricking. That's the thing. I believe there's always a way out of everything.
Who are you?
You know this, Jacob. You know me like this. So, game 1, open up with 1 monster. Some decent draw. I'm like, okay. He goes first. I then passes it to me. I go into my turn and just digging and digging. Finally get OG Dragolem. I'm like, this isn't enough. Proceed to lose.
Enough.
Game 2. I think I opened up with an item, no monsters, some decent draw again. Go to the drawing again. Try to see. Gets like, no, I opened up with Vulcan. That's right, the Vulcan. The Vulture. My bad, not Vulcan.
You
The
got
Vulture.
Vulcan on your
I
mind.
do. Vulcan mind tricks, baby. And just wasn't getting anything. I'm like, okay, this is fun. Pass. He couldn't get his non-SA out. So I'm like, okay, I have a chance. I draw. Charge and draw. I'm like, I have nothing with 4 crit to use my dual golem draw spell. Lead. He gets rid of my monster, so I really couldn't do anything. I'm just like, okay. And just like, pass.
Dad.
Finally gets Nodosei out, and just like, yeah, you have it. Yeah, that was it. That was basically it. I couldn't do much. Just like, it almost made me believe in bricking. I feel like I could have gone through. I might have to change my deck up a little bit, work on numbers. But then I get the news.
Yeah.
The news from Jacob.
Oh, hang on.
Oh,
We'll go
my
through
bad,
the
my
rounds
bad.
first.
We'll
Yeah.
Finish this round, then take that D2.
Bryce.
Yeah.
Bryce.
So round 4 was against the Midwest Chaos Chief,
Ooh.
and then
Khalil, shoutouts to you, baby.
yeah, and then game 1 I did my thing and turn 1 black guy, and he's just the look on his face of just the utter depression just punched into him, and he just looks at his hand, looks back at me, looks back at his hand. Scoop. Rip. Game 2. Game 2, I couldn't really get anything going, and I's dead. I kind of died. He swung at me with like 20 damage on turn 2. I'm like, yep. And then game 3, we did our little shenanigans, but I couldn't find a black guy in turn 1, and I ended up with 25 life on, what was it? It was 22 or 25 on. No, it was 25 because I had to take the burn damage from the Destructor. And then I was first turn dry again. But the thing is that we were both kind of fighting for scraps at that point, but I already had my thing going. All I needed was a guy to really win me the game. And then he does his thing, whatever, sets up a small little board, like, you know, good old Tetra bots shenanigans, like whatever. And then turn 2, I top deck a white guy. I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to draw 6 cards now. And then I find a ramp Zervon and like 2 Pravargas. So then do my thing. So then give my boy a double attack penetrate, just because you know reasons. So the first Zervon attacks all monsters he controls, gets redirected to Tetra. So then I kill off with Pravarga, and then I go find another Zervon after I drew dry Pravarga. I was like, yeah, get him. And then the next Zervon kills all of his monsters again. And so now he has no board at this point. And then he goes down to 7. Then I Pravarga again. And then he just scoops after that because he knows he has to deal with 2 Gain attacks and a freaking... Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yep.
Now is it time to go down that rabbit hole?
My round 4.
Yes, you're round 4.
I fought Prism Dragons.
Ooh, who did you?
Antonio from Cardfront Underground.
Hey, there you go. There you go.
Game 1, I won 2 turns. You know,
Mhm.
it was quick. He didn't get out in a Thora. So
fair.
he loses. That's just how prisms work.
Yeah.
We both go and get our sideboard options. Now, I'm a pretty experienced Prism Dragon player myself, even though I got rid of the deck recently. So I knew what he was sideboarding in. I knew what was coming, and I just had to play around it, right?
Yeah.
So game 2 happens, and he goes first, and he just gets the full setup.
Ooh.
He gets his item, that's amazing. He gets his Thora on board, the one that restands itself. He gets 2 size zeros and a Mirror Valley.
Mm.
And I tried to play. I was not in that game. It was a game of solitaire, and I lost.
Oh.
And then we go into game 3. I go first, and I get my starting hand, and that ugly thing called bricking shows its face again. But I'm like, you know what? This is an important game. I'm just going to push through and do everything I can to draw cards. And I drew into not one, but two Ball Soleils.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What you gonna do with those Ball Soleils?
I called the first one,
Yeah.
and he antimatter clouded it.
Ooh. What you gonna do now?
And then I made a really bad play to get the second one out on board.
Oh.
And I had nothing else. My hand was gone. I had a Ball Soleil with one soul on board, and I couldn't even attack. Well, I attacked for 3, but like after that, the Ball Soleil just sat there doing nothing, because of the fact that his Athor had 9,000 defense and it only has 8,000. So it was just there to prevent me from being KO'd because he had to get rid of it to, deal full damage.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that was also a game I was not playing. So I lost.
Rip.
So now I was X and 2. Now it's still possible to get into top 8 with X and 2, right?
Yeah.
So I was gonna keep playing. Plus, I like to keep playing, just for the experience, even when I'm not having a good day.
Mm-hmm.
Come
Come over by me while I was talking to Speed Robo, showing off your
beautiful
fresh
new
new stuff. I'm like, you should put that into your deck.
Mm-hmm.
And then
I was like, yeah, you're right. I'll do that. Reach through my backpack, can't find it. Grab everything out of my backpack. It's not there. My deck was gone. Someone stole my 72 Pillars deck. And if you're, not new to the channel, that is my pride and joy deck. Now I started off calm, like, hey, maybe, let's just check the lost and found, look with the vendors, look at the area we were. That stuff, right? And nothing came from it. And now I'm both, anxious over it because, it's my favorite deck. It's a very expensive deck because, it's got things like these in there. Tons of max rarity cards in the deck. And it's just not showing up. At this point, a decent number of people know, and everyone who, I tell about it are just like, what the hell? Right?
because that's not something you hear about at least a buddy fight. Or are we gonna try to call it future card now? I can't remember.
I don't know. But I'm just devastated, man. I'm really bummed out. And at this point,
Round 5's about to start up.
I made the decision. I'm like, I'm dropping. I'm looking for my deck.
I decided to drop because I'm like, yeah, I'm Xing through. There's no chance. And it's like, as much fun as it would be to just ruin people's lives,
It's not. Worth it.
it's not worth. So I go up to my opponent. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna drop. He's like, oh, okay. I'm like, unless you really want to play against Dual Gong. He's like, no, not really. I'm like, okay.
So I'm looking around. I'm talking with people. We're literally looking under tables and stuff.
Right. We find other stuff to bring to Lost and
Yes,
Found.
we did. We found someone's bag that they had lost and stuff, but no deck. So I spend the rest of the day looking around, feeling like crap.
Right.
And
talking to like Khalil,
just
Max Rarity.
Just having my day be ruined.
Right.
So that was the rest of my day. We'll come back to that story after we get done with Bryce's rounds.
Yeah, because it's really just Bryce now. So Bryce, your round 5 was against Sun Dragons, if I'm correct. Right?
The worst matchup for me. The absolute worst.
And how did that go for you? How did that go?
Way better than I expected to. Because every time we play tested, I always got stomped. Every time. Well, first of all, it's Christian. What do you expect? He always stuffed X and nuts.
Christian is protagonist. This is correct.
Yep. And then I went 2-1 against him because I won the die roll, so I was able to
Black God.
Yep, turn 1, baby.
At Black God, turn 1 play.
Like he made his board and all that, but at the same time, what did he do against Black Guy? He immediately died because he's like, yeah, sure, reduce the damage by 2. Okay, still take 3. Ow. And then yeah, and then game 2 did his thing. I'm like, yep, I'm dead. And then, well, actually, it was reversed order. But yeah, but the point is, game 3, that he went first. He was very close to killing me, but the thing was, he only had enough to play turn 1 Grandiose, and that was it. I was like, oh, you're not in for a good time, are you? Nope. And then I proceeded to basically take off to the races like a Black Friday shopper at a discount store.
Ooh, those analogies, though. Ooh.
Yeah, just Zervan Provargas for days, man. It's best.
And then round 6 was against the man, the myth, John Max Rarity Midham.
Yep.
Oof.
Oh, boy.
You were both undefeated. The
Yep.
only 2 undefeated players in Swiss.
Mm-hmm.
Be one.
Then there could only be one. And
Unfortunately, we-
it's funny because I was there, the match started, and everyone's like,
Yeah.
yeah, this match doesn't matter. It was just for bragging rights because you're both going to be in top 8 no matter what.
Right.
So how'd that for fun match go?
Yeah, game 1 I bricked because I saw all my little boys, but like none of my biggins, which I see that more than I see like all my biggins and none of my little boys. But it's like, well, I have 2 Provargas and a biscuit. I guess tag Tetra counter. God damn. I can't even get this satisfaction. I freaking lose. And then game 2, I went turn 1 black guy, and he's like, oh, ice scoop. Yep, that's what the deck does. It does one thing, and that's about it. And then game 3, we both bricked, and we had some nice Pentar and Pentar action going.
Whew. Penny pen.
And at the end of our horrible game, it came down to like, I know I'm going to lose, but I'm going to send a message and attack Tetra with my weak ass biscuit, and don't kill it because he's a tiny boy who can't kill a simple 5/5 Tetra.
It's funny because, at the end, the first thing out of his mouth after we were done was, I do not want to fight you in top 8.
Yes. Please don't turn 1 black-eyed me. Please no.
It's that black gun play, man.
Yeah.
It's devastating turn 1.
It is.
Which is why that's
The
what you're
fact that you can do it turn 1 is stupid.
You have
But
to
that's
jump through
besides-
some hoops. You do. But it's doable.
So you are now. Bryce was not sure quite, how it worked, and throughout the entire day, I'm ensuring him, well, this is how you'll get into top 8, and this is what you'll do, right? And by the time you were into round 5, I'm like, no, dude, you've got top 8.
You're like,
Right.
yeah, I don't know.
I'm like, no, you've got top 8, and then round 6, I'm like, dude, you've got top 8, right?
You're still
And-
kind of like, I don't know how you guys do it because he came from a Yu-Gi-Oh tournament scene, so
Because Konami is the worst bag of abs. Well, those words that you can't say without, freaking people about cussing, but they have like some of the worst tournament systems I've ever seen in my entire life. Well, that and their judges are complete douches.
So you ended up getting second in Swiss, which is, fairly obvious. You were
Yeah.
undefeated till you lost to the undefeated.
Yeah, like
And you got into Swiss, and while you were preparing doing your
you
deck
mean
checks,
got into top 8, not got into Swiss.
sorry, got out of Swiss into top 8. You were doing your deck check and all that jazz, and Dalton and I are participating in the raffle where they're giving away literally hundreds upon hundreds of boxes of Pocky.
And guess what happened? You didn't get any Pocky.
Although my fellow ginger friend who was there did share a couple boxes of the beautiful matcha green tea stuff with me.
That ginger connection.
Yeah.
oh yeah, we faced them for fun yesterday. Well,
Yes.
not yesterday.
Day
but,
1, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I destroyed him because turn 1 black eye, and he's like, oh, okay, rip.
That's the story.
Yep,
So now you're in top 8.
yep.
And, I remember I gave you a pep talk before. I explained how top 8's going to work for you, right?
Yep.
And I'm like, just keep your cool and you'll be good.
Yeah.
How'd that go?
I was able to keep my cool, but I went against Fifth Omnis, which is a deck I never really saw before. And honestly, I think it's a pretty cool deck that a lot of people pass up on because, people want to play with the more degenerate broken stuff because it's easy to go to. But
Well, the honest truth about Fifth Omnis, in my opinion, when it comes to that is It's always an option.
Like,
But you try to use something else because you don't want to be known as the guy who always uses fifth omnis. But it's like,
knows this from experience.
but then it's like, I don't have anything else, or I couldn't complete the deck. Oh, fifth omnis it is.
Because you almost ended up playing fifth omni.
I almost did.
Yeah.
I almost did, but I'm like, fifth omnis have an okay-ish matchup against Sun Dragons. Dual Golems have a better one, so
Yeah.
again, suspecting to see more Sun Dragons.
There weren't too many numbers-wise, but
It was more chaos,
yeah.
which was a little
It was pretty
unfortunate.
chaos infested. Like,
Yeah, 'cause-
half of the top 8 was nothing but chaos.
And a quarter of the top 8 was Bryce's.
You mean the all of one's Y deck that made it to top 8?
No, there were
there's-
two people named Bryce in top 8.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
The Bryce Force, the Judge, the one Bryce, and this Bryce right here.
So
Rest
how
in peace to the other 3 Bryces that couldn't make top 8. Rip.
there were an abnormal number of Bryces in this tournament.
Yes.
And it was funny because you kept hearing across the room, Bryce.
Yes. He's
Yeah.
like, oh right.
And what? And then top 8 was what? 4 chaos decks,
One
one Sun
Suns,
Dragon, one Zwei, obviously,
Yep.
one fifth, and one Dual Golem,
Yeah.
which team plays for days. If you're watching, I am waiting because I gotta see where the difference between mine and your deck was, man. You know,
It'd be awkward if this goes out after they actually get that out.
and if it does, kudos.
But let's get on with it. What happened in the fifth Omni match?
The 5th Omni match is honestly where I started making my first misplays of the day, because it's not something I'm used to.
It's
And
my fault.
But what can you do? What do you expect? We were prepared for the 2 top decks of the format, and we were prepared for that. But 5th Omnis, it's like whatever. And at this point, if I were to face him again, I would do much better since I'm more used to it now.
This is why I like to play test against everything. Like, I don't care. I'll play test against
Well,
Ozins, man.
Don't worry, we'll eventually get you onto the area, and that's
Because
gonna be
I mean, like,
eroded.
Game 1, unfortunately, like, I just couldn't get going in time. It took me like 4 turns to set up, but by then I was already so pitifully low on life. It was like, even if I do swing with said guy, and you still have enough guys to link attack me the next turn, so I'm just dead to all rights. And then the second game was where I made my misplays, because I should have swung with the Aussie guy first, because I mean it doesn't matter, but it's the right thing to do, because then I would still have black guy to swing with, and then he would because of his nullify and whatnot, he doesn't want to lose his monsters, and hence that line of thought. And then the other one was a couple turns afterwards, where instead of just trying to flat out try to cast the Azida Haka assist, I could have done 2 things. I could have pitched it to gain 5 life, and then not die that turn, and then kill all his monsters the following turn, or just use Azida Haka assist to hit his left and right instead of going for his center right away, because otherwise 5th Omni Drum just pops him. I mean, I drew a card, but it wasn't the card I needed. So, but what do? It's not like the deck is full of hand traps or anything. It's a fair, honest deck that, quite honestly, it's like in a fairness that deck outfared me, and that's okay.
Yeah, so you ended up losing, right?
Yeah.
And you felt bad about it. But we're like, dude, you made top 8 on your first ever appearance at Buddy Fight. Cheer up. Look at us. We're scrubs.
Well, to be fair, I didn't really plan to get into top 8 this time around, but it did tee me off a little bit, knowing there was a dual golem up there. I'm like, dang it could have been me. But things happen. We're all like, cool. We kind of stayed around for a little bit. Afterwards, we're wrapping up. We're ready to get out.
Still looking for Jacob's deck.
Still looking.
Although
Also, Dalton realized he left his water bottle at the hotel we were staying in, and was just like, well, okay.
still not as important as the Osmo dies over there.
Yeah, so we eventually do wrap up to leave. And we leave, and I'm never going to see this deck again, right?
We get back on the road. Me and Bryce were just talking away. We're already talking about new decks and so forth that we will not be showcasing because they are secret evil plans of Bryce's and mine, and we must keep them evil for Springfest. But in just Jacob's in the back, I'm just kind of like, he's so
okay.
sad.
We won't say that you won't see it. You'll see like a little preview.
You'll see him. You'll
see a preview of it, but that's about it. We won't do like deck profiles until after Springfest.
Jacob was obviously very sad.
You know, we had to have a moment of silence in the car for him.
So we're driving home. We get some really bad weather.
Oh yeah, it was raining like a.
It was really bad. It's been really nasty the past
That was
couple
almost
days.
bad as your crippling depression that
Yeah.
day.
Whew.
And we stopped for some dinner, get some Mickey D's.
Right.
Um,
Then we finally make it back home. You know.
and not 5 minutes after we you guys drop me off, I message you and say, "Hey, I'm getting my deck back."
No, because I think I got back home, which might have been like in the 5 minutes.
Okay,
I'm like,
in the
I'm like,
details, man.
I'm all like, hey, wait, hold up. How? What?
Yeah.
Where'd they find it? How? Or whatever happened?
So now I get to share the story. I'll call them Person A and Person B. Person A is a dickhole and stole my deck.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
We had, when I was talking with someone, had my decks out on the table. They had theirs out on the table, and Person A went through and just grabbed a deck off the table at random, and just swiped it. Okay.
Whoa.
And that was right before round 4 started, and round 4 had been called, so we were all rushing to put our stuff back.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so I didn't notice till after. Person A does not play Buddy Fight. I'm just saying. I'm not trying to say anything here, but can you guess what game they were from?
Why Schwartz?
Why Schwartz?
Oh, of
Well,
course.
No, Vanguard, bro.
It was a Y Schwartz player.
No, I don't know. You didn't tell me that.
Person B plays both games. Person B is a friend of Person A.
Mm-hmm.
And Person B found out about Person A hawking that deck, and also found out from my post I made about it in the North American Buddy Fight group that it was my deck. Person A had no idea who I was. Person B knows me.
Okay.
Person B goes, you should, first of all, you're an asshole. Second of all, you really need to return that deck. Because, one, that's a really crappy thing to do. Two, if anyone finds out, you're in a really bad spot because he's really well known in the community. Not trying to brag or anything. Like,
just known.
Yeah,
Just say no. Just say
brag
no.
I'm known. And three, even if you didn't return it, there's no way you can get rid of the deck because it's so tagged and everyone knows what's in it. And there are seriously unique cards in it.
Like 2 Continental original Osmodai.
If someone tried to sell 2 of these, you'd immediately be suspicious. Because they're 2 Continental Osmodais. Plus all the other stuff in the deck, which makes it unique. So Person A refuses because the Person A, doesn't want to be in trouble, right?
Right.
And they work out an agreement that Person B would return it for them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So Person B messaged me and said, "Hey, I'm not going to tell you who Person A is. That's kind of part of the deal. And I ask that you keep me anonymous as well, but I will return your deck to you and I will pay for shipping." So that Person B 2 days shipped it to me, and it arrived this morning. So what's the lesson here?
What's the lesson? Don't bring about 30 decks with you.
I only brought 4.
It's 4 too many.
Pay close attention to your stuff. I'd argue I was, but
Yu-Gi-Oh does a very fine lesson of that, if anything, because filthy heathens.
You can never be too careful with your stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly don't think I would have gotten the deck back had I not, had some sort of presence in the community.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Part of it was really nice because, I know a lot of the different vendors who
Mm-hmm.
sell in the game, both at local shops and also, some of the larger online ones. So they were all on, alert for it. So anyone who, was keeping an eye out for that for me, thanks for that. Anyone who said some kind words when, I was ranting about losing it, thanks. And to the person who did return the deck, thanks. I appreciate it. Overall, I'm very happy I got the deck back, right?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously. But still, it does kind of leave a bad taste in my mouth over the entire event.
Well, at least now you know not to bring our snow dice down.
No
matter how much you want to show it
lock
off.
them away in a safe.
Unless you're using them for the actual competition.
Yeah, that really sucked though. That
But then again, shit happens. You
Yeah.
can't always, predict what's going to happen.
And honestly, I blamed myself. Like I was like, I probably was too careless with this, and I'm never gonna see this deck again, and I just have to accept that.
Mm-hmm.
And I said that to you, right?
Yep.
At the event still, I'm like, I'm never gonna see this deck again. So I am happy that I do have it back.
Well, I was going to tell you, like, the day afterwards, I'm like, you know what? We can do this again. We can rebuild. We can become stronger again.
Except for the Continental Osmodas, those are pretty hard to get.
It's like, no, I would have worked my ass off to get you those Continentals again. I would have done it somehow, some way, working 15 jobs if I got to.
Whoa.
I would have done it for you, man.
So, it really makes me sad just knowing that, thieving is totally a thing still at these events. Can't we all just be buddies, guys? I'm still looking forward to the next event.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully
He's gonna have his deck in this weird type of case that's gonna be connected to a handcuff that's gonna be wrapped around his arm, so you literally can't.
Trackers, got a chip.
But how do I play the deck then? I need a dual disc.
I never said you're gonna have a key to it.
Oh no, it's just all cards chained to a person.
All the cards. He's gonna make like a Scottish kilt out of it and just.
Yeah.
It's going to be like a cape.
Look at my shiny cape.
Captain Asmodai, at your service.
I also would like to state, I also don't blame Bushiroad for any of that. Their security's fine.
Yeah, they were quite helpful too.
They do actually have a system for that and a lost and found and all that jazz. So, no complaints there. That's all I have to say about this. That's the story, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, there's not more juicy details.
That basically wraps it up. Good luck to what was it? Mike, was it? Mike Hoffman, who topped the regionals.
Good luck to our boy Khalil.
Good luck to Khalil.
I believe Jonathan's also going.
Yep, Jonathan too. Good luck in Japan, guys. We wish we could have bumped you guys out, but things happen for a reason.
Even though the duoclone player did kill the Sun player, thank God, I still lost, so I'm still a scrub. So.
So, yeah, thanks again for joining us, guys. Any last words from you, Bryce, about your first experience in actually topping and how you feel about hitting the hyperbolic time chamber again for 6 months?
All I can say is that I'm pretty stoked for Lost World, how that's going to help out a lot of my matchups.
Are you excited for the next regionals?
Yes.
For Springfest this time?
So does that mean I have to carry the team then, or?
No. Nah, your boy's going to have his order together.
Yeah.
Jacob, any last words from you?
Still wish I had been able to play God Punks.
Trust me. Oh, did I ever explain that? The fact that I was like the day before I decided to actually go, like you finally convinced me to do it. It was just like, I won't have the order, man.
Yeah.
It won't be good enough.
We were both really bummed out about it, but I was 100% set on going, and you were not.
Then I was just like, well, no. It was going to be the order. But besides all that, make sure to like this video. Subscribe if you are new. Hit the bell so you don't miss out on anything else, because we're going to have a boatload of things coming out soon. We're picking back up in the card game community. Things are going to be coming out a little bit more frequently. Follow us on Instagram. We do post there. Missing something. Join our Discord. Talk to us. Give us video requests, so forth and so on. Things like that. Maybe we'll see you down in Springfest. And above all else, stay classy, y'all.
Thanks for listening to TCG Buzz. New episodes can be found on tcgbuzz.com. Don't forget to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. For box openings, deck profiles, and more, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel.